So we work with companies and organizations that have delivery problems, but their challenges aren't just related to delivery; they're also related to discovery, right, Jeff?
Yeah, they're building fast, but they're not building the right thing. And no amount of Agile is going to fix that.
Welcome to the Agility in Real Life podcast, Take Five in Real Life. Now your hosts, Studema, Jeff Lee, and Pat Campbell.
And that's what we're going to get into on this episode of the Take Five IRL podcast. My name is Mike Studema. I'm one of the partners at Agility IRL and one of the hosts for this episode. I'm joined by one of my other partners, Jeff Lee. Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mike. Nice to be in person for this one as well. We every once in a while we get together to do these instead of just doing them from our home offices.
Yeah, good to be with you in person and talking about a problem that maybe doesn't get as much airtime as the delivery issues that we commonly talk about. As we indicated in our cold open, we're talking about continuous discovery and why most enterprises get it wrong. So, Jeff, maybe start out, just give us a short definition of discovery. What's discovery?
Discovery. So we're figuring out, what do our customers want? Where is the value? What is going to help us make a better product, succeed as an organization, and delight our customers?
Oh yeah, so and I'm setting this up for you on a tee. It's a phase, right?
Right. We do that at the beginning, and then we just know that we nailed it the first time, and then we spend months and months building something. Yeah, and of course that's absolutely wrong. Right, this whole concept of continuous discovery, we hear that term a lot, but unfortunately, companies don't do it a lot.
Yeah, they stop learning and they start guessing. So, and assuming, and we all know what the old saying about assumptions are, which we can't say here on the podcast because it would up the rating. So why, if we know it's wrong or we know that it's not going to give us what we want, why do we do it?
Yeah, so why do we treat discovery as a phase? Well, number one, we get locked into plans. We start communicating our plans. We say, okay, we're going to be doing this, and then we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And it's hard to upset that, right? It's hard to change that. There's communication that needs to be involved. There's reprioritization. There's busy people who don't want to say, hey, we just figured this out a month ago. Why are we having this conversation again?
Well, and it comes back to this kind of fundamental, not to get too Scrum focused here, but it comes back to that fundamental Scrum value of openness and being open to being wrong, right? And being able to say, look, the idea that we had, the idea that I thought we should pursue in terms of delivery is wrong, and we need to pivot.
Yeah, one of the things I always say to my clients is, as soon as we put together a plan, the one thing we know about it, it's wrong. They don't always love hearing that. Eventually, they just kind of get used to hearing that and start to believe it. And it's okay to be wrong, right? It's our best guess at that moment. And if we don't keep guessing in future moments, we're going to be real wrong.
Right. Well, and really, I mean, to put it into some terms that might resonate with our more traditional project management watchers or listeners here, you're just taking on risk, right? You're by not continually trying to discover what you're building, you're just making a bunch of assumptions, and assumptions represent risk.
Yeah, and we're usually pretty good, especially in the traditional project management field. Like, decades ago when I was taking classes to get my PMP, we learned how to log risks. We learned how to categorize risks. We learned how to monitor risks. But if we just leave that as a static document, or we build it out and then we monitor what's already on there, we're missing out. We're not going to build the right thing.
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot, and we will continue to talk a lot about delivery challenges. We've talked about flow metrics. We've talked about flow. We've talked about why flow metrics won't get you there. This is really where I think we got to pair up this idea of continuous discovery. It's not just about continuing delivery flow. It's continuing to figure out that we're building the right thing.
Yeah, and help us find the right problem, right? That we should know what our customers' problems are. And we come up with some solutions to that. But those problems can change, and we learn more about them as we're building as well. And so we need to be continually looking at that.
Yeah, I think if you get out of balance there between flow and discovery, you just end up with more waste,
Mhm.
right? Which is a dangerous situation. So let's maybe turn our attention to what does this actually look like in practice from your experience?
Yeah, talking to customers regularly, right? This isn't rocket surgery, right? This is stuff we should know. Testing your ideas before you're building them, right? The idea, how do we test things out with small investments before we build them? And then potentially if we built the wrong thing, we have big investments and a lot that we've lost for it. Yeah, what else do you have to add to that, Lex?
Well, I mean, I just a comment there is I think this AI-aided development world that we're in gives us opportunities to run even better tests there more quickly.
Yeah.
You know, ask a ChatGPT, ask a Claude to create a prototype, take that to a user and go, hey, are we on the right track?
Mm-hmm.
And if they say no, you're probably only out a few hours worth of work. Whereas in the past, in the old days, for you kids that are listening, that would have taken us, and when I say us, probably a team of 5 or 6 developers to create a web-based prototype that now you get in a couple hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Learning fast, right? And that's a very fast way to do it.
Yeah, so I think beyond that, you know, small experiments, shortening sprint durations. I know a lot of people get intimidated by a 2-week sprint, but maybe you got to go smaller. Maybe you got to go 1-week sprints.
Yeah. As much time as you can have to build something significant, but significant doesn't need to be huge, right? It needs to have some value. And if you're trying to learn a lot, short sprints are going to help you with that.
Well, that's fundamentally what, not to get too philosophical, but that's fundamentally what Agile's about, is building that learning muscle in the organization to learn as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So if you're stuck in this pattern, one thing to do is, fundamentally stop treating discovery like a phase.
Yeah. Well, and I have to shout out to our medical device clients joining us. Medical device, we love you, but you're drunk on phases. Everything has to be a phase. And I want to be fair, and Jeff, hold me accountable. There is some rationale to phases. We're not bashing phases overall, or maybe we'll do that on another episode. But what we're saying here is don't treat discovery like a phase.
Yeah, and for those of you, closed circuit here to the med device folks, but one of the things that we often see is people were updating their development process, their quality management system, their design controls part, but they still have these business phases that are outside of that, which is okay, but don't stop learning.
Right. Well, and that's some other, actionable advice beyond talking to real users. Measure that learning, measure how many experiments you've run, measure how many assumptions you've proven false. I think there's value in that because that shows that the organization is truly learning.
Yeah. So the bottom line here, if there's something to take away, continuous discovery isn't optional. You're going to be left behind if you treat that as a phase.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not about speed. It's about speed in the right direction. And continuous discovery is going to give you the opportunity to at least pause periodically and say, are we going in the right direction? And if not, where do we need to pivot towards?
Yeah. And like we talked about in our last episode, right? It's not an either or with making your delivery better or making your direction better. But if you had to choose one, go slowly in the right direction.
Absolutely. Better to go slow and arrive in one piece than go fast in the wrong direction and not arrive at all.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded like a public service announcement for drunk driving or something.
It's not that.
It's not that, yeah. Well, Jeff, it's been great talking through this with you. As we always say, reach out to us at Agility IRL if you need assistance in learning more about continuous discovery. If you have episode ideas, as we love to incorporate them into future episodes of this Take 5 IRL podcast. Jeff, any closing words from your perspective?
If you didn't hear our previous episode where we were talking about flow, kind of leading into this, you may want to check that out. They kind of pair well together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jeff, as always, for the conversation. And join us again on another episode of Take 5 IRL.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Take 5 IRL podcast. If you like it, please go ahead and share it with someone, as well as like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Also, leave us a comment or a suggestion for a future episode. Again, thanks for listening, and we look forward to you joining us next time on the Take 5 IRL podcast.